Perfect. Okay, so we are recording. Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody who has joined us tonight. And remember, if you know somebody that didn't catch this, hopefully this is recording and will be posted in the link tree, so people will be able to access it. My name is Vicki Feldman, and I have the pleasure of leading this call tonight. And we're talking about exercise. And I asked for people to share while we were waiting just what they're doing now. So if you haven't done it, would love to have you chime in the chat with what you're doing currently for exercise if you are in a structured routine. And if you're not, that's okay. And then maybe how often you're exercising. One of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight is, what is exercise? Because we have movement and then we have exercise. And, Dr. A differentiates this is the NEAT exercises and the EAT, the energy. So really what we're talking about is planned movement, something that you plan for. And that is really what exercise is. And we know that exercise is a very important predictor of your longevity. And there's lots of research out there that talks about mortality, and that when you exercise, you do live longer. Yet it's something that, again, it's a habit that we talk about creating. It's one of our macro habits. And yet some of us, have a hard time incorporating that in. How many of you feel like maybe even prior to this program that you were exercising to negate something you ate? Raise your hand if that's ever been you. Yeah. Okay. And it's a little bit of a mindset. I think I actually grew up with that mindset. Let's talk about what does exercise do for you? And there's really two main components, and they all have like a ripple effect. One is cardiovascular, right? We all need a heart that works well to keep us alive. When we work our cardiovascular system, we're talking about improved brain function, elevated mood. And we know with mood, that impacts our stress level, anxiety, depression. All of that is a benefit of cardiovascular exercise. We know that it can increase your metabolism, it can increase your energy, and we know it can decrease a lot of the lifestyle illnesses that we have. It can have an impact on that as well. The other thing is neuromuscular health. So the strength training, and strength training is known as like the gift that keeps on giving. So we all go through activities of daily living. We all want to be able to move things, lift things, push things, pull things, move something from one place to another. We want to be able to run through all those things without necessarily needing help and assistance along the way. It's interesting because as we age, we lose bone density over the age of 50, about 1% a year. Over the age of 35. And we also lose up to 10% of our lean muscle after the age of 50 per decade. So when we talk about the strength training piece and the lean muscle mass, we're talking about the ability to burn calories and our metabolism, basically. Our basal metabolic rate is determined by how much lean muscle we have on our bodies. And I always like to differentiate between, there's a scale where we get a number on the scale and there's weight. And then we have more sensitive scales like the InBody scale, where we can see how much of that weight is made up of lean mass, fat mass, water mass. And it gives us a little bit of a different picture. I am a coach at Orange Theory Fitness, and it's always interesting to me because people wear heart rate monitors, and you can look up at the screen, and 9 times out of 10, when that screen is done, the men have so much higher calorie burn because they have more lean mass. I'm 4'11 3/4 on a good day. So for me to be able to do like one burpee, let's say, versus a guy who's, 6 foot tall and, weighs over 200 pounds, just calorie for calorie doing that one burpee, he's going to burn more calories than me. Okay. So one of the things that I have found over time as I've aged is that having that extra lean muscle mass is going to be really, really important for me to combat an easy weight gain, just because I am a smaller individual. I want to talk a little bit about my story. So actually, Dee is my coach. I knew Dee before this program, And I was teaching small group TRX classes at a local Pilates studio. And she came in and basically talked about this program and what it had to offer. At the time, it took me about 3 months to say yes, I will say that. At the time, I was 49. I was perimenopausal. I had an A1C that had come back, pre-diabetic. At the time, I was teaching at LA Fitness, probably 3 spin classes a week, kickboxing, club boxing, strength training. I was working out. That exercise was not an issue. But I had, both my parents had type 2 diabetes. My mom had heart disease. All my grandparents, it was just all in the family. So I kind of knew my genetic footprint. And when that A1C came back high, that was a little bit of an awakening for me, because despite what I was doing, I wasn't getting the health that I wanted. And I remember saying to my husband, I don't like, if I work out anymore, I'm going to hurt myself. So there's something that needs to shift. So I ended up jumping on program, and I lost about 17 pounds in 6 weeks. And again, I'm about to hit 50, and I am just a hair under 5 feet. So I'm a petite individual. People watched my change, and right then I knew that I had something in my hands, because I worked with people all the time who exercise, and yet I saw them struggle like me, right? So I knew I had this gift that I could share with them. And then the other thing is, as time has gone on, what I have learned is, by sharing this gift, it holds me accountable, because it's so hard to backtrack when you're helping other people trying to get a hold of their health, especially, in the fitness industry. So what did I do? I did the 5-in-1, and I know we're here to talk about like how exercise is incorporated into the program, and I'm going to kind of expand a little bit beyond that. I did 5-in-1, and I cut back my intensity. So for example, when I was teaching a spin class, I was on and off the bike, I was walking the room. So I cut back my intensity. So for somebody who does exercise already coming into the program, and that's probably 80 to 90% of the people that I work with are people that are already exercising, we want to cut down duration. We want to cut down intensity. Optavia says, hold off on all exercise for 2 to 3 weeks. So if you're new to exercise and just coming in, the recommendation is get into fat burn. And then when you start incorporating exercise, you're going to know how you feel, and then you're going to be able to tailor that with your coach to what you need to support your workouts. A lot of people that I work with have the mindset, if I don't work out, I'm going to kill somebody. Like, I need it for my mental health. I need it. So we tailor that down. And I do want to emphasize that not one size fits all. We could all be doing the same thing, and yet everybody's needs are going to be a little bit different. We're all different human beings. I remember somebody saying about throwing a bunch of flower seeds out in the yard. They all grow. We all know we all lose at different paces. We all react a little bit differently. So that's why you want to stay really close to your coach. And in my experience, once you're in fat burn, as you plug along, you'll know, like, wow, that's interesting. I worked out today at 9 o'clock, and at 3 o'clock, I felt hungry, and that doesn't usually happen to me. And then you can kind of figure out how to buffer your feelings, and maybe what else that you need to do. Dr. A talks about having a sandwich, having a workout, or having a fueling, having a workout. And then by the time you go home, you're ready, you're showered, and it's time for your next fueling. So that's a great way to make sure that you've got your energy on one end, your workout in the middle, and your energy on the other side. I want to talk a little bit. Meg did a fabulous call. So if you've not listened to it, I think it was back in July, because I remember it was when we had convention, about the science of fat burn. A lot of people know this, some of this it may be new to, but our preferred energy source is carbohydrates, right? That's what our bodies like to use for energy. The problem is we overestimate how much we burn, and we underestimate how many we take in. And so we always have the excess carbs, which is our excess, which just gets stored as fat. When we're going into fat burn, your body's like, yeah, let me use what you've just eaten. And at some point in time, we're going to have not anything left. Then your body's going to use glycogen that's stored in your muscle. And then after that, it taps into fat. And Dr. Anderson explains really well that caveman days, what do? We were hunters and gatherers. We went out and we hunted for food. When I first started this program, I would compare it to, yeah, you hunted for food. Now you don't have to hunt and you just have to stick your hand out of a drive-through window and grab your food. So we're not expending energy getting our food, right? And yet we're taking in more than our body's able to burn. Now, fast forward a few years, it tells you how long I've been coaching, which is 10 years. You don't even have to get up and leave your house to get your food. You can call Uber Eats, you can call DoorDash, right? And it comes right to your house. So we're now even moving less. So, because our bodies are meant to live, we want to live. If you start pulling your calories down, which we know in 5 and 1, you're pulling your calories down, and then you're like, but I'm going to keep exercising. I need to keep doing this. Then your body's like, well, wait, I only have this coming in and you're demanding this. I'm going to go into storage mode. So sometimes people hit it too hard on both sides. Then the body just goes into like, I'm just going to protect what I have because I want this body to live, which is why you have the benefit of getting into fat burn, letting your body experience it. And then you can slowly increase the intensity and see how your body reacts. Because we're always looking to see, are you continuing to lose weight? How are you feeling? We want to keep you in fat burn. We don't want to be miserable, right? We're trying to create a healthy habit here. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? You can just nod. Yes. Okay. Awesome. So I'm going to introduce Mandy Mail. Mandy and I met when she moved here from Cincinnati. She became a client and a coach pretty much at the same time. Mandy is a very healthy individual. She came very healthy. And I'll let her tell a little bit about her story and how she incorporated, because she was somebody who did exercise. And then she's going to introduce 2 other people that are going to share. And then I'm going to kind of come back around to why we know it's good and what gets in the way of us doing it. Mandy, you want to unmute?
Yeah, hello everyone. Good evening, and thank you for sharing all of that, Vicki. That was amazing. It's interesting because you hear a lot like sitting is the new smoking, and it's so true that we can just order our food and like we're doing so much sitting. But yeah, thank you for sharing all of that. And I just want to share a little bit about like how I kind of got into Optavia. I started in 2020, right kind of in the height of the pandemic. I jumped on both, as Vicki said, a client and a coach basically at the same time. As a coach, just to, help others achieve, optimal health and well-being. As she said, health and wellness has always been a priority in my life. I've always exercised, and I was an athlete growing up. So that's important to me. But during the height of the pandemic, of course, a few habits like just fallen off a little bit. So, okay, I could use to tighten up a little bit. So I just wanted to share kind of what I did as like someone that already was exercising. And I definitely followed the guidelines of pulling back the intensity for the first couple of weeks. And I did a 4, 2, and 1. And honestly, for me, I have been living a healthy lifestyle for a very long time. So I'm very aware and, I eat intuitively, really. So I really listen to my body in regard to like what it needs. So for me, I followed a 4, 2, and 1. And I was exercising. Within a couple weeks, I picked the intensity back up. And I just added protein as needed and checked in with Vicki, stayed connected with her about what my needs were for my body, as far as like getting additional healthy fats and proteins so that I was keeping, the fat burn, so to speak, but also, feeling good and full of energy with the exercise and getting what my body needed. But, I think for people that are not exercising, I want you to know that there are so many options in regard to helping you stay in fat burn, as well as feeling good and feeling like you're getting healthy movement and exercise, but also staying to plan and going for the goals that you want as far as optimal health. I think one of the most important things is obviously staying connected to your coach in regard to that, so they can help you, because we can't help you maximize what you want to do if we don't know what's going on, right? So if you're just starting to exercise, just make sure that you're staying connected with your coach. And with that being said, I want to introduce two of my clients, Sean and Mark Weller. They have also been very active most of their lives. They have a great story, and I would love for you guys to pop off mute and share a little about your journey and how you've incorporated exercise even through an injury and kind of shifted from 5'1" to 4 and 2 and all the things.
Hi all, thanks Mandy and Vicki for inviting us to talk about this. Basically we started on program in April of 21. And we have been moving, exercising most of our lives. Both of us were athletes also. And so exercise wasn't something new to us. And yet we also, I guess the biggest thing for me was I got to the realization after I got into my 60s that I can't outwork what I eat. I was thinking, back to what Vicki said, I could just, work out, but it wasn't working for me. I also had arthritis in a hip, and I wanted to see if by taking off some weight, that would help take away the pain in my hip. And so Mark and I jumped on program together, and I initially wanted to lose 10 to 15 pounds and ended up losing 25. But I was on 5'1" and just continued to exercise through that, cut down a little on my intensity also, as it's been said, but also needed to bring up my water intake. And I also needed to add a little protein sometimes when I was working out. And just to add, I do Pilates, and I finally gave in and had to have hip replacement surgery in June of this year. And I believe that the loss of the weight and the continual exercise allowed me to recover very, very quickly. I was down probably 4 days was about all that I was down. I was up and walking around and really didn't feel any pain from day one. And I believe that's because of the program Optavia enabling me to get off the extra weight and staying with my exercise.
Yeah, for me, I also, felt like I had about 15 or 20 pounds that I wanted to lose, and started on 5'1", and within 4 months I had lost more weight than I wanted to. I was back to a high school weight that was 50 years ago, 45 years ago, and I was kind of like, okay, I need to dial this back, and Mandy kind of helped me move from 5'1" to now I'm on a 3'3", adding protein, and I exercise 4 to 5 times a week. And one of the things that we both feel like we got to be a part of, if we were left to our own devices and we had to basically exercise at home or do something on our own, it wasn't going to happen. We both need a community, a studio, or some place where others with like-mindedness want to work out. My workout is I spin for 20 minutes, I do strength for 20, and then I do stretching. It's kind of yoga. It's called Spenga. And it's 60 minutes that I can do at my age, 63 years old, every day of the week if I wanted to, because of the stretching. So one of the ahas for me as an athlete my whole life, I was a horrible stretcher. And the other thing that happens when you age is your balance. So stretching and yoga has really helped me in my exercise routine, and different than Sean's. But and I think that the other piece, that to build on something Vicki said earlier, when you exercise and you're active, you sleep better. And sleep quality is huge as you age for your body, and all the metrics that you're getting. Your body is allowing itself to rest and recover, so you can be active, whether it be work or exercise or with your kids or grandkids like we like to do. So
Wow, thanks for sharing. I love that you guys did it together, because I think that collaboration and that synchronization, again, it's having that built-in support system. So you,
with it. Yeah.
that's
but she wasn't happy with me because I was losing way more weight than she was. As you said, the male, I saw there's another gentleman on, it's like, yeah, we have a genetic advantage, hands down, whether it's Orange Theory or anything else. It's like, yep. And she was like, oh,
yeah.
I just hate you. This is not right. I'm working just as hard as you are and I'm eating what you're eating. Like, yeah.
You're right. There's the different flowers that everybody grows a little differently.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for sharing. I know Mandy has another client that's gonna share for a couple of minutes as well.
Yeah, so I don't know if she ended up getting on. She was having, oh, there she is. She's on. Okay, so I'm gonna have another client jump on. Her name is actually Mandy as well. And I'm gonna have her pop off mute and share a little bit about her story when it comes to exercise and nutrition as well. So Mandy, if you wanna jump off mute and share with us.
I think I'm off mute. Can you guys hear me? Okay, Mandy with a Y, not with an I. Honestly, what prompted me to start the program, honestly, I'm clueless when it comes to nutrition. I know myself and how many times I have tried every different program. I cannot count calories. I cannot count points. I just need somebody to tell me what to eat and when to eat. So that's why I feel like I've been successful on this program, just because it's so mindless and I am able to just pick out of a drawer and pick something to eat every 3 hours when my timer goes off. I've always been an active person, just like the rest of the people that have shared tonight, from playing sports in high school to going through my adulthood and playing tennis. And then about 18 months ago, I did start Orange Theory, which really helped me increase my intensive cardio that I was missing in my regular routines. Because like everybody else during the pandemic, I was just working out at home and wasn't seeing the results that I had really wanted to see. And so at that point, I too had realized that I can't outrun a bad diet, right? Like I'm just going to sit there and keep working out 5 days a week and still eating garbage. And from what I know, garbage in, garbage out, right? So I contacted Mandy, started on the 5 and 1 for probably about a week or two. And I called her and I was like, I'm starving. I'm so hungry. Like, what are we going to do? So that's when we started on the 4, 2, and 1. So that last one being like a snack, usually it comes right after my workout, being like a cottage cheese or, most of the time like yogurt, cause it's in the morning. But I was, what helped me a lot was making sure I set those timers, especially on the days that I was working out, because I would get so busy as a mom of 3 kids and a full-time job that you just keep going. And it's hard to remember to stop and do things for yourself. So the results that I saw, I try to avoid the scale, quite honestly, as much as possible. But I know to listen to my body and know that my results come in sleep quality, as well as energy, just to keep up with the day-to-day. And the sleep quality alone was worth everything that I had been doing, just because I was being more active and fueling my body the way that it needed to be fueled, instead of just draining myself.
Yeah, that's great. That's great, Mandy. Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, I heard sleep in here twice, and just like the ripple effect of this program, it just solidifies that, we don't hit all these macro habits in a vacuum. Like one thing, if we don't sleep well, you wake up with a bad attitude, you may skip a workout, right? You may be so irritable, you eat something that, it's like a ricochet effect, because we know that hormones are secreted when we sleep that can influence hunger. But if you exercise, you sleep like a baby, then it's like the circle keeps going. But one of the things that I wanted to, and I see here in the chat, do you recommend exercise in the morning or after you've had your lead? You can exercise whenever. It doesn't matter, whatever time works for you. Because when we talk about exercise, there are barriers to exercise, right? How many feel like they just, the day goes by and they didn't get it in. They didn't get it in. So just like we were talking about the timing of the fuelings and like that alarm to remind you, you want to set yourself up for success. And, we all know the joke, right? 2023 is right around the corner. The gyms are going to be full in January. And by March, they're empty, right? So how we know, like I talked a bit about the beginning, that this is a longevity thing, right? If exercise is instrumental to your longevity and your mortality, and we know, because everybody here is experiencing this, that 80% is how we fuel our body, right? 20% is exercise. Why would we give that up? We talk about like a solution to a problem versus creating a habit for your life, right? We don't want to jump into the deep end and tread water for 2 months and then have that go by the wayside. Dr. Anderson actually talked about in the book that when he was taught to swim, his dad threw him in then deep in the pool and said, swim, right? That's like saying throwing somebody at the gym, go exercise. Well, how do we get around maybe some barriers that prevent us? Some people don't like to exercise. Some people, it holds no allure. Some people don't know what to do. So I'm going to just share a couple of quick things that I think are helpful. I think the number one thing is find something you love. You may not even know what that is because you haven't tried it yet. Every boutique fitness studio will offer you a free class. Every gym will offer you probably a free week. I say, go tapas it, go experience everything that there is and find something you love. Because number one, if you find something that you love, you'll keep going back. The second thing is it creates a community, right? When you keep going and you keep seeing the same people and they get to know you, just like this group that we're on this call right now, that this is the group that surrounds you. And we all know that we are much more likely to stick with something. Like Mark and Sean said, they did it together. When you do it together, grab a friend. If you're doing something by yourself, put on some music that you love. That music will be instrumental in keeping you going. I was talking with Mark and Sean about they're up in Cincinnati in the frigid cold. Like right now, you wouldn't want to be walking outside, but if you did, man, you'd be moving pretty fast, right? Because you'd have to be able to stay warm. Make sure you got proper shoes and you want to make sure that you hydrate, right? That all of those things are going to be important. I know we're running out of time. Can we speak to people who are afraid of losing muscle mass on our program? So strength training is great question, Lucy. Strength training is really critical. We want to build lean mass. So when somebody is on a diet, they're going to lose weight. That weight's going to be muscle and fat. What we want to do is we want to lose fat and we want to protect lean muscle. And that's why our program is designed the way it is, where you get that equal pairing of carb and protein. Now, I've done like a 4-week where I have done 4 and 2, 4, 2, 5 and 5 and 1, 4 and 2. Again, I'm a petite individual and I've increased my strength training and I have lost a couple pounds and increased my muscle mass and my metabolic rate has gone up. So if you have some specific questions about that, Lucy, I know that you're a coach. Talk to your coach. Feel free on our Eat, Live, and Be Healthy page. Ask these questions. These are really great questions. And we want to make sure that, and I think like the sharing of that is going to be really critical. So everybody who's on this call, look for those questions because you all have great information to add. I know we're right at 8:30. So I want to respect everybody's time. I want to thank everybody that spoke tonight on the call because I think everybody had something of value to share. And guys, this is how we learn, this is how we grow, and this is how we become better together. All right. Have a great night. Thank you again for joining us.